I'm Mandy Wilson. I'm 27 years old, and I've spent most of my life on the outside looking in. It all started when I was just 7 years old. My mom passed away suddenly, and everything changed. My dad remarried a year later to Denise, a woman with 2 kids of her own, Thomas and Catherine. At first, I was excited. I thought I was getting a new family. I thought I'd have siblings to play with, maybe a mom figure again. But Denise had other plans. From the beginning, she made it clear I didn't belong. Not really. She treated me like I was some old memory she wanted to erase, like I was a shadow from my dad's first life. Her own children got the attention, the praise, the affection. I got the rules, the cold shoulder, and the hand-me-downs. When holidays came, Thomas and Catherine opened boxes of expensive gifts, while I got socks or school supplies. My dad saw some of it, but he rarely stepped in. When I told him how I felt, he said things like, "Let's keep the peace," or, "Denise means well," but deep down, I think he just didn't want to deal with the mess. Still, I tried. I stayed out of trouble. I worked hard in school. I made sure I gave him reasons to be proud of me, and it paid off. I earned a full ride to Northwestern, and after college, I started a digital marketing agency with my college roommate, Jade. We started small, but with time, we built something real, something successful. Even so, to my family, I was still the one who didn't quite measure up. Denise especially made sure of that. She never let me forget where I stood. So tonight, when I received a text from Dad inviting me to Thomas's law school celebration dinner, I let myself believe, for once, that maybe things were changing. The dinner was at Lumiere, one of the fanciest restaurants in Chicago. I spent 2 weeks' salary on a dress just to feel like I belonged. I arrived a little early, heart pounding, but hopeful. That hope vanished the moment I saw Denise at the hostess stand. Her voice echoed across the fancy marble floor. "Oh honey," she said loudly enough for everyone to hear, "your name isn't on the guest list. Maybe try the fast food court instead." People turned to look. I froze. My cheeks burned as I stood there, clutching my purse tightly. The dress I'd been so proud of suddenly felt like a costume I didn't deserve to wear. "There must be some mistake," I said, trying to stay calm. "The invitation said 7 o'clock. Denise smiled, that fake, syrupy smile I knew all too well. "No mistake, tonight's for family only," she said, putting extra weight on the word family like a slap. I looked past her and saw Dad, sitting at a large table surrounded by people, Denise's children, their friends, aunts, uncles. Everyone was laughing and enjoying themselves. He hadn't noticed me yet, or maybe he had and was pretending not to. "I was invited," I said again, pulling out my phone to show the message from Dad. Denise didn't even look at it. She just patted my arm like I was a silly child. "Your father forgets things sometimes," she said. "This night is for Thomas. Let's not make it about you." That was it. That was the moment everything hit me. For 20 years, I'd been trying to prove I deserved a place at that table, that I was part of this family, but the truth was, Denise never wanted me there. She wanted her version of a perfect family, and I wasn't part of it. I was still standing there, unsure what to do, when my phone buzzed. It was a message from Jade. "All set for tomorrow's meeting with Pierre. He's excited about our expansion proposal." Pierre Lumiere, the famous chef, the man whose restaurant I was currently being turned away from. Before I could respond, Denise came back to the hostess stand, this time her voice lower but colder. "You're still here?" she hissed. "Your father agrees it's better if you leave. Don't ruin this night for everyone." I stood still, stunned. Did Dad really say that? Did he really think I was a problem? I thought about the early years, when it was just me and him, how he used to make pancakes shaped like animals, how we went hiking and watched cartoons every Saturday morning. Back then, I was his world. Now, I wasn't even worth defending. Denise turned and walked away like she had won something. I almost left, but I needed to see for myself. I needed to look Dad in the eye. "I just want to say congratulations to Thomas," I told the hostess and stepped forward. Denise blocked my way again, her voice sharp. "Mandy, don't embarrass yourself. I can call security if you need help leaving." I looked past her and locked eyes with my father. He looked away. Just like that, I knew, I wasn't going to change anything by staying. I wasn't going to win a place in this family, not from Denise, and not from a father who wouldn't stand up for me. "Fine," I whispered, my throat tight, "I'll go." And I walked out of Lumiere, not because I didn't belong, but because I finally understood something. I wasn't the problem, they were, and I was done begging for scraps of love I'd long since earned. After thanking James for the information, I called Jade right away. "They're spreading lies about us," I said, my voice tight with frustration, "trying to ruin our chances by feeding Pierre false financial data." Jade gasped. "Wait, do they even have access to our numbers?" "No, that's the scary part, they're making it all up, they must be creating fake documents." I paused, the weight of that realization settling in. They're committing fraud just to destroy everything I've built. The next morning, Jade and I showed up early at Lumiere for our meeting with Pierre. We were ready to defend ourselves against whatever Catherine had told him, but to our surprise, Pierre welcomed us warmly, as though nothing had happened the day before. "I've been thinking more about your proposal," he said as he led us to his private office. "The idea of an equity partnership is very interesting." I was confused. Why wasn't he bringing up the supposed financial issues Catherine had mentioned? Was he setting us up? When Pierre briefly stepped out to speak with his head chef, I leaned toward Jade. "Something's not right, he's pretending nothing happened yesterday." "Maybe he didn't believe them," she said, her voice filled with cautious hope. Before we could say more, Pierre returned. "I have a counteroffer," he said, looking serious. "Instead of expanding like you suggested, I'm thinking about selling Lumiere entirely." That caught us completely off guard. "Selling?" I repeated. "To who?" He handed us a folder. "That's what I wanted to discuss. I received this offer yesterday." I opened it, and my heart dropped. It was a formal offer from Wilson Financial Group, from Catherine's division. The documents described plans to turn Lumiere into a chain of average, mid-level restaurants, completely erasing the unique brand Pierre had spent years building. "They said you two were childhood friends," Pierre added, watching me closely, "that you'd be happy to see her take this project forward." My hands tightened around the folder. So this was her plan. Catherine wasn't just trying to interfere, she was trying to replace me, rewrite history, pretend that she was the visionary. "Childhood friends?" I said sharply. "Pierre, Catherine is my half-sister. This is personal. She's trying to destroy my connection with you and take over what I've worked for." Pierre's eyes widened. "That woman from the dinner, she's your stepmother, and Catherine is her daughter?" "Yes," I said, "and they've been working together to ruin this opportunity for me." Pierre nodded slowly. "That makes sense now." The offer they made felt strange. The numbers didn't match what I know about my own business. I felt a wave of relief. He hadn't fallen for their lies. Pierre took a breath, then leaned forward. "I've actually been considering something for a while. I plan to retire in 5 years. My children aren't interested in taking over Lumiere. I need people who understand my vision, and who will protect it." He paused, looking at both of us. "I want to offer you and Jade the chance to become majority owners of Lumiere Enterprises, starting now, with a 30% ownership." I nearly dropped my glass of water. Jade, always the practical one, asked, "Why us?" Pierre smiled. "Because you understand what this restaurant stands for, and more importantly, you're honest. Your family isn't." After discussing the financial details, we told Pierre we needed time to think. The moment we were alone, Jade and I could barely contain our excitement. "This is amazing," Jade whispered. "We're going to own Lumiere." "It's a huge responsibility," I said, still a bit in shock. "We'll need to change how we run our agency if we're going to take this on." As we began planning, my phone buzzed. It was a text from Catherine. "Heard you're meeting Pierre again. Don't waste his time. Our deal's nearly done." Her smugness only made me more determined. "We're accepting Pierre's offer," I said, "but with one small condition." When Pierre returned, we agreed to the deal, but we asked that our ownership remain confidential for 1 month. We needed time to get financing and reorganize our business. "Is this because of your family?" he asked knowingly. I nodded. "Partly. I don't want them interfering." Pierre understood, and by that afternoon, we signed the papers. Jade and I officially became 30% owners of Lumiere, with a path to take majority control in the next 5 years. The following week flew by in a blur of meetings with lawyers and bankers. Meanwhile, Catherine kept sending me confident messages, bragging about her almost finalized deal. She even got Dad to call, telling me to stay out of the restaurant world and stick to what I know. I kept quiet, let them believe their fantasy. Then came the twist. Denise planned another family dinner, this time To celebrate Catherine's business success, she reserved a private room at Lumiere. The invitation came as a text from Dad, with a note that made my blood boil. Might be awkward after last time, but your sister would appreciate your support. Jade read it and shook her head. They're throwing a party before their deal is even real? Classic Denise, I said, celebrating something that isn't even hers yet. I thought about skipping the dinner, but then, an idea formed. Technically, I wasn't allowed to tell anyone I owned part of Lumiere, but I could attend the dinner. Nothing stopped me from showing up. I think I'll go, I told Jade. Are you sure? I smiled, completely, but first, I need to make one small change to our confidentiality agreement. The day before the dinner, I met with Pierre and his lawyer. I explained everything, and they agreed to let me reveal the truth, if necessary. Justice, Pierre said with a grin, is all about timing. The night of the party, I wore a simple black dress and walked into Lumiere with my head held high. The hostess recognized me but said nothing as I made my way to the private room. Inside, the whole family was already there, laughing, drinking, toasting to Catherine. Denise was in the middle of a speech. So proud of Catherine, the Wilson name is about to shine in Chicago's culinary world. I walked in just as the room erupted in applause. Mandy, my father said, surprised, you came. I wouldn't miss it, I said calmly. Denise narrowed her eyes. Well, you're here, but I've arranged a small table for you in the corner. Didn't want you to feel awkward. Actually, I said, my voice steady, I think I'll ask the owner where I should sit. Denise scoffed, Pierre doesn't handle seating. I smiled, I wasn't talking about Pierre. At that moment, the manager appeared, with Pierre beside him. Ms. Wilson, the manager said with respect, your usual table is ready. Everyone froze. Pierre stepped forward. I'm pleased to introduce one of Lumiere's new owners. Mandy Wilson and her business partner now own 30% of this restaurant, with plans to take majority ownership in the future. The room went silent. Denise dropped her glass. Catherine looked like she'd seen a ghost. That can't be, she whispered. Our deal, I said, was never real. Pierre saw through your lies. The financial documents you sent were fake. Dad stood, looking confused. Mandy. Catherine lied, I said clearly, and so did Denise. You've all pushed me aside for years, but now, you're standing in my restaurant. I turned to Pierre. Would you give us a moment? He nodded and left. I took his place at the head of the table. For 20 years, I accepted being treated like an outsider, but I'm done. This is my moment, and your party is happening in my restaurant. I stood up. Dinner's on me tonight, I said, it's the last thing you'll ever get from me. And with that, I walked out. Outside, Jade was waiting. How'd it go? She asked. I smiled as I got in the car. Perfectly, let's go celebrate. As we drove away, I didn't look back, not at the restaurant, not at my family. Because I was finally moving forward.